We often live our lives in a dance of avoidance, a sophisticated choreography designed to sidestep the deeper anxieties that hum beneath the surface of our daily routines. We fill our schedules, chase fleeting pleasures, and distract ourselves with endless digital streams, all in a subconscious effort to keep certain uncomfortable truths at bay. Yet, according to Irvin D. Yalom, this elaborate evasion only postpones, and often intensifies, the inevitable encounter with what he calls the givens of existence. These are not mere psychological quirks or temporary afflictions. They are fundamental, inescapable aspects of being human that shape our deepest fears and desires. Yalom posits that genuine psychological well-being and profound personal growth aren't achieved by shielding ourselves from these realities, but by courageously turning to face them head-on. The first of these givens is the most stark: death. From the moment of our birth, our end is inscribed. While this may seem a morbid starting point, Yalom argues it's precisely our awareness of finitude that can infuse life with urgency and meaning. We spend vast amounts of energy denying death's inevitability through grand projects, through the pursuit of immortality and legacy or belief systems, or simply by refusing to think about it. But this denial, he suggests, comes at a cost. It can lead to a shallow existence, one lived as if there's always endless time, postponing dreams, difficult conversations, or genuine self-expression. In Existential Psychotherapy, Yalom meticulously dissects the concept of death anxiety, explaining how it manifests in various neuroses and pathologies. He doesn't offer a cure for death, but rather a profound shift in perspective. Though the physicality of death destroys us, he writes, the idea of death may save us. By integrating the awareness of our limited time, we are prompted to clarify our values, prioritize what truly matters, and live with greater intentionality. The uncomfortable truth of our finite existence becomes a powerful catalyst for authenticity, urging us to shed the inauthentic and embrace a life aligned with our deepest desires, precisely because the clock is ticking. Hand in hand with death is the concept of existential isolation. This isn't the loneliness of not having friends or partners, but a deeper, more fundamental solitude. Yalom emphasizes that no matter how close we are to others, there remains an unbridgeable chasm between self and other. We are born alone, and we die alone. This realization can be terrifying, leading to desperate attempts to merge with others, to lose ourselves in relationships, or to conform to societal expectations to avoid feeling utterly separate. Yet, Yalom argues that true connection can only emerge from a place of recognizing this inherent isolation. Only when we fully grasp our distinct individuality can we truly reach out and connect authentically, appreciating the other for who they are, rather than demanding they fill an existential void. This understanding is crucial in Love's Executioner, where he recounts therapeutic encounters that illuminate the desperate lengths people go to avoid this isolation, and how acknowledging it is the first step toward genuine relatedness. Then there is freedom and responsibility. While freedom sounds inherently positive, Yalom explores its daunting flip side, the immense responsibility that comes with it. We are condemned to be free. As Sartre famously put it, this means we are the authors of our own lives. There's no preordained script, no external authority dictating our choices. Every decision we make, and even the decisions we don't make, contributes to the person we become and the life we lead. This can lead to profound anxiety, a sense of groundlessness, as there's no ultimate external structure to lean on. The temptation is to relinquish this freedom, to adopt roles, follow societal norms blindly, or defer responsibility to others. However, Yalom's work consistently challenges this evasion. He argues that embracing this radical freedom, though anxiety-provoking, is the only path to genuine self-creation and authenticity. It's in taking ownership of our choices, even the difficult ones, that we discover our agency and capacity to shape our existence. Finally, the lack of inherent meaning. In a world stripped of divine purpose or cosmic design, the question arises, what is the meaning of it all? This vacuum can lead to existential despair, a feeling of pointlessness. We crave meaning. We search for it in careers, relationships, possessions, or ideologies. But Yalom suggests that meaning isn't something we find pre-packaged. It's something we create. It's a human construct, woven through our values, our commitments, our actions, and our contributions. This means taking an active role in defining what makes life worthwhile for us. This theme resonates powerfully in When Nietzsche Wept, where the characters grapple with philosophical despair and the arduous, yet ultimately liberating, task of forging personal meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe. The cure often involves a courageous acceptance of his meaninglessness as a starting point, recognizing that within that void lies the infinite potential for self-generated purpose. By confronting these uncomfortable truths, death, isolation, freedom, and meaninglessness, Yalom argues that we move beyond superficial coping mechanisms and engage in a deeper, more profound journey. The initial discomfort and anxiety they provoke are not signs of pathology, but rather signals of a healthy engagement with a fundamental human condition. It is through this confrontation that suffering can be transformed from a debilitating burden into a powerful catalyst for self-awareness, authentic living, and ultimately, genuine growth. Ignoring these realities keeps us trapped in a reactive, less fulfilling existence. Facing them, however daunting, unlocks the potential for a life lived with greater intention, deeper connection, and a self-created sense of purpose. The initial shock of suffering often throws us into a posture of bewilderment and self-pity. When confronted with pain, be it the grief of loss, the anxiety of uncertainty, or the despair of meaninglessness, our instinctual cry is often a plaintive, "Why me?" This question, while deeply human and understandable, often traps us in a victim mentality, fixating on the injustice of our predicament and inhibiting any movement forward. Irvin D. Yalom, through his profound insights into the human condition and his therapeutic practice, offers a transformative pathway out of this paralyzing loop. He doesn't dismiss the validity of the why, but he gently yet firmly guides us toward a more empowering question: what now? This shift marks the crucial transition from passive suffering to active engagement, from being defined by pain to using it as a catalyst for growth. Yalom's approach hinges on the idea that pain, especially existential pain, is not an anomaly to be eradicated, but a fundamental aspect of human existence to be integrated. He posits that much of our psychological distress stems not from the pain itself, but from our resistance to it. We spend immense energy attempting to numb, deny, or escape suffering, creating a secondary layer of anguish. Imagine someone grappling with profound loneliness that can arise even within a crowd. Instead of acknowledging this feeling, they might double down on superficial social engagements, constantly seeking external validation, thus deepening their inner void. Yalom, in his many clinical anecdotes, illuminates this pattern. He might, for instance, describe a patient consumed by regret over past choices. The "why me?" here manifests as a perpetual replaying of alternative scenarios, a fruitless attempt to undo what's been done. The therapeutic work, then, is not to erase the regret, but to help the patient accept its presence and understand how it might inform future actions. The transformation from "why me?" to "what now?" is fundamentally about embracing personal responsibility. This is a core tenet of existential therapy. While external circumstances can inflict pain, our response to that pain, our choices in its wake, and our attitude towards it are profoundly within our control. This is a difficult truth, as it removes the comfortable scapegoat of external forces and places the onus squarely on the individual. Yet, it is precisely this radical sense of agency that empowers growth. Yalom's narratives, particularly in works like the Schopenhauer Cure, often show characters initially mired in self-pity or blame, who gradually, through the therapeutic process, begin to assume ownership of their lives. For example, a character might initially blame a past relationship for their current unhappiness. Yalom's therapy would steer them toward exploring their own contributions to that dynamic and, more importantly, what choices they can make now to shape a different future, rather than remaining trapped in the past. This shift also involves cultivating radical acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation. It is a clear-eyed acknowledgement of what is, without judgment or resistance. When we cease fighting against the reality of our pain, we free up immense psychological energy that was previously consumed by denial or suppression. This energy can then be redirected towards constructive action, towards finding meaning, and towards cultivating new ways of being. Yalom often emphasizes that it is a patient anxiety and fear of death or loneliness or freedom or meaninglessness that creates their symptoms and not the actual experience of these realities. By helping patients confront the raw reality of their suffering, he helps them dissipate the secondary anxieties generated by avoidance. This acceptance allows for a deeper, more authentic engagement with life, even with its inherent hardships. Furthermore, moving to what now encourages a focus on meaning-making and purposeful action. If the why me question dwells on the past and perpetuates helplessness, what now looks to the future and demands agency. This isn't about finding a pre-existing meaning, but about actively creating it. For a patient experiencing profound grief, the question might shift from, why did this happen to me, to given this immense loss, what can I do now to honor this person, to learn from this experience, or to find a new path forward? Yalom's emphasis on the will to meaning, inspired by Viktor Frankl, suggests that even in the most dire circumstances, humans possess a capacity to find or create purpose. This purpose then becomes a powerful antidote to despair, transforming the experience of suffering into a foundation for resilience and new life. As he eloquently puts it in The Gift of Therapy, meaning is a byproduct of engagement. It is through our active engagement with life, even its painful aspects, that meaning emerges. Ultimately, Yalom's approach to transforming suffering is not about providing easy answers or eliminating pain. Instead, it's about empowering individuals to embrace their vulnerability, to courageously confront the uncomfortable truths of existence, and to actively sculpt a meaningful life from the raw material of their experiences. The transition from why me to what now is not a simple intellectual exercise. It is a profound journey of self-discovery, responsibility, and a courageous creation of meaning in the face of life's inevitable hardships. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity not just to endure pain, but to be fundamentally transformed and enriched by IT in a world increasingly characterized by digital interfaces and individualized pursuits. The profound human need for genuine connection often remains unfulfilled, leaving many to navigate their suffering in isolation. While individual therapy offers a crucial space for self-exploration, Irvin D. Yalom passionately advocates for the transformative power of group therapy, arguing that the crucible of connection found within a therapeutic group offers unique pathways to healing unavailable in any other setting. Here, the solitary burden of my pain begins to dissolve as it encounters the resonant echoes of our pain, transforming isolation into a shared journey of understanding and growth. Yalom's foundational work, The Theory and Practice of Group Psychotherapy, details the therapeutic factors that make groups so potent. Chief among these is universality. When individuals gather and begin to articulate their deepest fears, anxieties, or shames, they often do so with profound belief that they are utterly alone in their struggles. "I thought I was the only one," is a common refrain. Yet, as others in the group share similar experiences, be it the terror of death, the sting of rejection, the struggle with meaning, or the weight of existential loneliness, a powerful sense of relief washes over them. This realization that one's personal suffering is, in fact, a shared human experience is incredibly validating. It punctures the suffocating bubble of isolation and fosters a sense of belonging, diminishing the shame and stigma often associated with psychological distress. A patient who, in individual therapy, might feel uniquely flawed in their anxiety, suddenly sees 5 other faces nodding in recognition, sharing similar trembling hands or racing hearts. This shared vulnerability creates an immediate, unspoken bond. Beyond mere recognition, group therapy fosters altruism. As individuals listen to others, offer support, and even challenge fellow members constructively, they experience the profound satisfaction of being helpful. This act of giving to others, paradoxically, strengthens their own sense of self-worth and competence. When one is consumed by personal suffering, the world often shrinks inward. The act of reaching out and contributing to another's well-being pulls the individual out of their self-absorption, reminding them of their capacity for empathy and positive impact. Yalom often highlights moments in group where a previously withdrawn member finds their voice to offer a poignant insight or a comforting word to another, and in doing so, experiences a sense of purpose and efficacy that directly counteracts their feelings of helplessness. This reciprocal healing dynamic makes the group much more than a collection of individuals. It becomes a living, breathing organism where each member contributes to collective well-being. Crucially, the group provides an arena for interpersonal learning. Life, Yalom suggests, is primarily an interpersonal endeavor. Our patterns of relating, our defenses, our blind spots, and our ways of influencing others are developed in relationships. The group setting acts as a microcosm of society, a safe and immediate laboratory where these interpersonal dynamics play out in real time. Members receive immediate, honest feedback on how their communication styles, their avoidance tactics, or their need for control impact others. This here and now learning is incredibly powerful because it's not abstract, it's directly experienced. For instance, a patient who habitually dominates conversations in daily life might be gently, yet firmly, confronted by group members about their difficulty allowing others to speak. This direct feedback, delivered within a supportive, trusting environment, allows for genuine self-correction and the development of healthier relational skills. Yalom often refers to this as corrective emotional experience, where old, dysfunctional relational patterns can be replaced with new, more adaptive ones through repeated positive interactions within the group. The presence of multiple perspectives within the group also enriches the therapeutic process. While an individual therapist offers one skill viewpoint, a group offers a multitude of lived experiences and interpretations. This diversity of insight can help members break free from rigid thought patterns and consider alternative ways of understanding their situations. Someone struggling with self-criticism might hear diverse perspectives on self-compassion from different group members, each offering a unique angle that resonates in a new way. This tapestry of human experience provides a richer context for personal reflection and problem-solving, illuminating paths to growth that might remain hidden in a solitary therapeutic encounter. Ultimately, Yalom's emphasis on the group highlights a fundamental truth. While suffering can be deeply personal, healing is often a communal process. The power of we lies in its capacity to transform isolating pain into shared human experience, fostering connection, empathy, and personal growth through the dynamic interplay of diverse individuals striving towards greater understanding and well-being. It is within this crucible of genuine human connection that individuals learn they are not only capable of enduring their suffering, but also of transforming it, with and for others, into a powerful force for a more connected and meaningful life. Irvin Yalom's brilliance extends far beyond the confines of the therapeutic hour. While his clinical narratives offer unparalleled insight into complex dynamics of the human psyche, the wisdom embedded in his work isn't exclusive to patients on a couch. It offers profound guidance for anyone navigating the inevitable hard edges of everyday life. His books, blending the rigor of psychiatric theory with the fluidity of compelling storytelling, distill therapeutic insights into practical wisdom that empowers us to face common challenges, grief, anxiety, loss, and relational struggles, not as afflictions to be cured, but as opportunities for deeper living. This is where Yalom truly demystifies pain, by revealing its potential as a catalyst for a more authentic and purposeful existence, accessible to all. One of the most powerful takeaways for daily life is Yalom's emphasis on acceptance of reality, particularly the parts we find uncomfortable. We often expend immense energy fighting against what is, whether it's an unwelcome change, an unresolved conflict, or a personal limitation. This resistance, however, only perpetuates suffering. Yalom's therapeutic approach, as reflected in his stories, gently steers individuals toward acknowledging facts rather than fictionalizing them. Consider the common experience of grief. When confronted with the loss of a loved one, our initial instinct is often denial or a desperate longing for things to return to how they were. Yalom would argue that true healing begins not by erasing the pain of absence, but by integrating the reality of the loss into one's life. He would encourage us to sit with the discomfort, to allow the tears, and to recognize that grief, though agonizing, is a natural and necessary response to love. In Love's Executioner, he often illustrates how patients' attempts to avoid the pain of loss only compounded their distress, and how moments of genuine acceptance, however painful, were pivotal in their journeys toward peace. The everyday wisdom here is clear. Resisting the flow of life, especially its painful currents, often leads to greater anguish. Embracing what is difficult as it may be is a first step toward genuine peace. Yalom also subtly educates us on the importance of authentic connection as a bulwark against suffering. His group therapy insights are particularly relevant here. In daily interactions, we often wear masks, presenting curated versions of ourselves to gain approval or avoid vulnerability. This creates superficial relationships that offer little solace when true distress arises. Yalom's narratives repeatedly show that it's in moments of genuine self-disclosure and mutual vulnerability that true connection, and therefore true healing, occurs. The wisdom for everyday life is to cultivate relationships where we can be truly seen and heard, and where we can offer the same to others. This means risking vulnerability, perhaps sharing a struggle or a fear with a trusted friend, rather than retreating into isolation. It also means practicing empathy. Truly listen to others, attempt and understand their internal world, and offering presence rather than unsolicited advice. This act of being present for another's pain, as Yalom demonstrates repeatedly, is profoundly therapeutic, not just for the recipient but for the giver as well. Furthermore, Yalom consistently highlights the human need for meaning and purpose, and how its absence can be a significant source of existential anxiety. In our fast-paced lives, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of external markers of success, careers, possessions, status, only to find a hollow feeling once they are attained. Yalom reminds us that meaning isn't found in external achievements, but is actively created through our choices, values, and contributions. For the person navigating everyday life, this translates into a powerful call to examine what truly matters to them. Are your daily actions aligned with your deepest values? Are you engaged in activities that give you a sense of purpose? However small, this wisdom encourages conscious living, where even mundane tasks can be imbued with meaning if approached with intention. As he posits in the gift of therapy, meaning is a byproduct of engagement. It's not a grand revelation, but emerges from our active, intentional participation in life. Embracing a cause, cultivating a passion, nurturing relationships, or simply living ethically can all be powerful acts of meaning-making that provide a robust defense against the feeling of emptiness. Finally, Yalom's work offers invaluable lessons on personal responsibility and the power of choice. We often feel like victims of circumstance, attributing our unhappiness to external factors or past events. While external factors certainly influence us, Yalom's existential lens consistently reminds us that we possess the ultimate freedom to choose our attitude, our response, and our path forward, regardless of our circumstances. This isn't about blaming the victim. It's about empowering the individual. If you're stuck in a difficult situation, the couch wisdom for everyday life is to ask, what choices can I make, even small ones, to improve my situation and my experience of it? This proactive stance, fueled by the awareness of our inherent freedom, transforms pain from a crushing weight into a prompt for action. It's about taking ownership of our lives, recognizing that even when circumstances are beyond our control, our internal landscape and our responses remain within our sovereign domain. This wisdom fosters resilience, encouraging us to look inward for agency rather than outward for salvation. In essence, Irvin Yalom helps us see that pain is not merely a deficit to be remedied, but a profound human experience that, when embraced and explored, can lead to unprecedented self-awareness, deeper connection, and a life rich with self-created meaning. His work, extending beyond the couch, offers a timeless guide for anyone seeking to not just survive life's hard edges, but to grow and flourish because of the traditional landscape of psychotherapy. The image of the therapist often conjures notions of a detached, analytical expert, a blank slate onto whom the patient projects their internal world. This conventional stance, while possessing its own utility, stands in stark contrast to the relational philosophy championed by Irvin D. Yalom. For Yalom, the therapist is not merely an interpreter of symptoms or a dispenser of solutions, but a fellow traveler, a deeply human presence who engages authentically with the patient, using the very relationship as a powerful vehicle for change. It is this radical embrace of authenticity, shared vulnerability, and mutual respect that, in Yalom's view, unlocks the profound transformations necessary for true growth. The cornerstone of this approach is the therapist's willingness to be genuinely present and, crucially, to be transparent. This doesn't imply burdening the patient with personal problems, but rather allowing aspects of one's own humanity to be visible. Yalom, throughout his clinical memoirs like Love's Executioner and Other Tales of Psychotherapy or The Gift of Therapy, openly shares moments where he felt frustrated, confused, moved, or even bored during sessions. He reveals his internal struggles with a patient's resistance or his own countertransference, not as a weakness, but as an integral part of the shared human experience within a therapeutic encounter. This contrasts sharply with the perfect, all-knowing therapist archetype. By revealing judiciously and authentically, the therapist models vulnerability, creating a safe space for the patient to do the same. This reciprocal authenticity dismantles a power imbalance that can otherwise impede genuine connection, fostering an environment where deep, honest exploration can occur without fear of judgment. This transparency directly leads to the concept of the here and now in therapy. Rather than solely delving into past traumas or external relationships, Yalom emphasizes a dynamic unfolding within the therapy room itself. How does the patient relate to the therapist in this very moment? Are they deferential, challenging, avoidant, or engaging? And how does the therapist respond to these relational patterns? This immediate, lived experience within the session becomes a rich source of data. If a patient habitually seeks approval from the therapist, for instance, Yalom would gently bring this pattern to their attention, inviting them to explore its origins and implications in their broader life. He might directly share his own feelings about being placed on a pedestal, thus offering immediate, first-hand feedback. This real-time feedback, grounded in a genuine relationship, provides a corrective emotional experience that is far more impactful than theoretical interpretations alone. It allows old, maladaptive relational patterns to be played out, understood, and ultimately revised in a safe and supportive context. Furthermore, Yalom's approach underscores the immense therapeutic value of empathy and active listening. A fellow traveler isn't just a passive observer. They are deeply engaged, striving to understand the patient's internal world from their unique perspective. This requires a profound level of attentiveness, a willingness to suspend one's own assumptions, and to truly hear the nuanced layers of the patient's experience. When a patient feels deeply understood, truly felt, rather than just intellectually comprehended, a powerful bond of trust is formed. This bond, born of genuine empathy, becomes a secure base from which the patient can then dare to explore their most terrifying fears and vulnerabilities. It is in this relational safety that the courage to face existential anxieties like death or isolation is found. The therapist's authentic presence becomes a steadying hand in the patient's journey through their own internal wilderness. Crucially, the fellow traveler concept implicitly rejects the notion of therapist as someone who cures the patient. Instead, the therapist is a guide, a companion, someone who walks alongside the patient on their unique path of discovery and growth. This shifts the locus of agency from the therapist to patient, empowering them to find their own answers and build their own meaning. Yalom consistently highlights that it is the patient's courage, their willingness to engage with their own suffering, and their innate capacity for growth that drives transformation. The therapist's role is to facilitate this process through their authentic presence, insightful observations, and unwavering belief in the patient's potential. As he often states, it is the relationship that heals. It is the authentic, transparent, and empathic connection forged between two human beings, one seeking help, the other offering their full human presence, that becomes a crucible in which suffering is transmuted into profound personal growth. This shared journey, with all its inherent challenges and revelations, embodies the true spirit of Yalomian therapy in a universe that, on the surface, appears indifferent to our struggles and devoid of inherent grand design. The question of meaning looms large. For many, this perceived lack of a pre-given purpose is a profound source of existential anguish, leading to feelings of emptiness, apathy, or despair. Irvin D. Yalom, however, transforms this daunting void into an empowering invitation. He argues that meaning is not something we discover, like an archaeological artifact hidden in the sands of time. Rather, it is something we actively craft, create, and construct through our choices, values, and engagement with life. This radical notion of self-created meaning stands as the ultimate antidote to the potentially debilitating realization that existence does not come with an instruction manual or a predetermined script. The journey toward crafting meaning begins with the courage to acknowledge that life, by itself, is neutral. Unlike earlier eras where religious doctrines or societal roles often provided a ready-made framework for purpose, modern individuals often face a meaning vacuum. This is the very void that philosophers like Nietzsche wrestled with, and that Yalom, in his masterful novel When Nietzsche Wept, brings vividly to life for the character of Friedrich Nietzsche himself, grappling with profound despair in the absence of higher, objective truth. The initial confrontation with this absence can be terrifying, a sensation of groundlessness. However, Yalom contends that this very groundlessness is the fertile ground for genuine freedom. If there's no pre-written script, then we are, by definition, free to write our own. This freedom, while anxiety-provoking, is also the source of our deepest power. This freedom translates into a profound responsibility for how we choose to live. Yalom suggests that meaning emerges as a byproduct of engagement. Engagement with people, with projects, with causes, and with values. It's not about grand, sweeping gestures, though those can certainly contribute. It's often in the small, consistent acts of dedication and connection that purpose takes root and flourishes. Consider the meaning found in a fulfilling career, not just for the paycheck, but for the sense of contribution and skill mastery, or the profound meaning derived from nurturing deep relationships, where mutual care and shared experience create a rich tapestry of belonging. The act of caring for a loved one, of creating a piece of art, of volunteering for a cause one believes in. These are all acts of meaning-making. They don't arrive fully formed. They are built brick by brick, moment by moment, through conscious choice and committed action. Yalom's clinical narratives are replete with examples of patients who, initially paralyzed by a sense of meaninglessness, gradually discovered their own purpose. A patient struggling with deep apathy might, through therapy, begin to explore a long-dormant hobby or reconnect with strange family members. The initial steps might be hesitant, but as they engage, the intrinsic reward of these activities begins to fill the void. The meaning isn't handed to them. It's generated through their participation and investment. This active process of meaning-making serves as a powerful buffer against despair. When life inevitably presents its hard edges, loss, illness, setbacks, having a self-constructed framework of meaning provides resilience. It allows an individual to ask, even in this suffering, what can I learn? How can I grow? What values can I uphold? Furthermore, Yalom underscores that meaning is often found not in the pursuit of happiness directly, but in the pursuit of something larger than oneself. This can manifest as altruism, contributing to the well-being of others, as seen as insights on group therapy where members heal by helping each other. It can also be found in dedication to a cause, a belief system, or a creative endeavor that transcends one's immediate self-interest. This perspective offers a profound counter-narrative to a purely hedonistic view of life, suggesting that true fulfillment comes from a sense of purpose that extends beyond individual gratification. In conclusion, for Irvin Yalom, the ultimate antidote to existential anguish is the radical acceptance of our freedom to craft our own meaning. This doesn't mean life will be devoid of pain or struggle. On the contrary, it is often within and through these very struggles that our values are clarified, our commitments tested, and our unique purpose forged. By recognizing that we are the architects of our own significance, we transform the terrifying void of meaninglessness into a vast canvas of infinite possibilities, empowering us to live lives of profound depth, engagement, and self-created purpose. It is a journey from the agonizing why to the liberating what will I create. Continue your journey of growth with us. We've explored how Irvin Yalom transforms suffering into growth, but this is just the beginning. The path to deeper understanding and a more meaningful life is ongoing. Don't miss out on future insights and discussions that can help you navigate life's challenges with wisdom and resilience. Subscribe to our channel now and hit the notification bell to join our community of fellow travelers. Let's keep learning and growing together, turning life's hard edges into opportunities for profound personal transformation. Your next breakthrough awaits.